Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Kahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, who taught me this truth. Sincere shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. I'm going to try to make this video quick because a lot of people still don't understand, this concept. All right. They still don't understand the law on if a woman, if she gets taken by another man, which a lot of people refer to now as RAPE, right? Being sexually abused. All right. And, people get angry about that, and they don't understand what it was like in the ancient world and how things were set up, So people hear that and they just automatically get defensive, right? But you have to understand, back in those days, it was a different program, right? And there were certain things that, a man can do, right? And he can reconcile his behavior, right? And everything will be all good, okay? See, nowadays, a woman gets sexually abused, okay? And people have this thing in their head where the man beat the woman, he beat her to submission, he knocked her out, and then she just woke up sexually tampered with, right? But that wasn't so much the case at that much in the ancient world. It's going on today. So people have that stuck in their head because they've seen all these movies or those type of things have happened to them or their family members. But in the ancient world, when it tells you that a man took her, okay, it didn't always necessarily mean that he beat her to an inch of her life and then went inside of her. No, a man taking a woman, okay, in those days could have meant, he just pushed up on her real aggressive. You know how like Jake be spitting game at a woman, you know what I'm saying? And he just in her face with it. He like, what's up? What's happening? He just, he not letting up, right? He making physical touches, And, those men, they was doing that to women, right? And you have to understand, women back in those days were totally submissive, okay? Women back in those days were totally submissive. And women were very impressionable back in those days, right? So when a man would do that, right, it was a big chance that, if he say the right things and he grab her the right way, that she was going to go with him regardless, right? He didn't have to beat her. Now, like I said, there was cases that men did beat those women, right? And fondled them, held them, forced them against their will, right? I'm not saying that never happened like that, but what I'm also saying is that what I'm ultimately saying is that that wasn't the majority of the cases. The majority of the cases was a man pushing up on a woman, spitting game hard, right? And then he just probably grab her hand and be like, come on, you coming with me. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, women were very submissive in those days. So they just used to be like, okay, you know what I mean? Oh, all right. So, people have little to no understanding of how the ancient world was conducted, right? And when they read these scriptures, they apply it to the rules of Babylon, right? They apply it to, American ideals, man, okay? And they think that, the Lord, he has the mind of the so-called white man. But no, a lot of these laws are ancient world laws, man. This is what was going on in the ancient world, right? and it was about respect and order. Okay, and we're gonna pretty much get into this topic, and I'm just gonna read Deuteronomy 22. I ain't got no precepts, right? Because it's kind of self-explanatory, right? So I'm just going to read Deuteronomy 22, verse 23. It says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, right? So if a woman, let's just say, if a woman was a virgin, right? Okay. And, a man, he forced his way upon her. He snatched her up and forced her to lay down with him, right? And like I said, it's not always about beating her ass. And like I said, he probably just grabbed her up. Hey, you coming with me? Grabbed her by the wrist and just, you know what I mean? Because like I said, women were very impressionable back in those days. You know what I'm saying? Very submissive. You know what I'm saying? So if she was betrothed unto an husband, right? Meaning that she was already spoken for, right? He do that. It says, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die, right? So both of them gotta die, right? Because this man, he knew that she was already betrothed to a husband, and this nigga still went up in her, right? And then it's going to tell you right here. It says, the damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, right? So if a woman is betrothed to a husband and a man forced himself upon her, right? And then she didn't say anything, right? She just let it happen and didn't say anything, and just went back and kissed her husband on the lips and just kept it to herself, right? Because a lot of women, they would get embarrassed. You know what I mean? Or a lot of them women were just adulterous, man. You know what I mean? A lot of them type of women was just evil and was just curious on what's on the other side. So if she didn't say anything, right? And, and just kept it to herself, right? It says, and the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife, so thou shalt put away evil from among you. Yeah, so they both got to die. Right, because she knew what happened. She didn't say anything. And then this nigga went inside of her knowing that she already belonged to somebody else. You see? So it only makes sense, A lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people get emotional when these type of scriptures come up. Well, they get caught up on the took part, the forcing part, right? Which we're going to get right here. Verse 25. It says, but if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, right? Force her. Let's get that word, force, right? People need to understand what these scriptures is talking about, man. Stop getting emotional about everything, man. Right? If you get emotional about this, how the hell is you going to sup with the Heavenly Father, man? Okay? To force. This is the word force. To press, be urgent. Look at that. To be severe, be grievous. You see? You know what I mean? To withstand, to hold strongly with. To put forth strength, use one's strength. Right. So like I said, a lot of them men would just grab them women by the wrist and be like, come on, you need to come with me. It's on. We got to get it going. No, I want you, And maybe you did have a woman that would kind of like be like, oh, no, I can't. I got this going on. This is happening. No, I can't. But I mean, like I said, women were submissive enough to where, if a man just start making moves and just start taking off her clothes, she's not going to start fighting and trying to punch him in the face. Like I said, in some cases that probably did happen. But a lot of cases, man, women were just kind of simple and they were submissive. So, the man, all he had to do was just grab her by the wrist, take her where he was going to take her, and just start taking off her clothes. And she was going to get with it regardless, right? Because she don't know no better. She was a woman, you know what I'm saying? So, when you see force, okay, a lot of people go crazy over that, right? But it just means that he besieged her. He manipulated her. He worked that mental, he worked that mental game on her. and just got what he wanted, right? So it says, but if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. Right? For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. Right? You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of, a lot of cases where women would get forced upon, right? Because it would happen like that, where they would get forced upon, they will, right? She was crying out and nobody could save her, right? And then as soon as it was all done, she went to go tell her father, or she went to go tell the priest right away. She didn't hold it to herself. She kept it to her. She didn't keep it to herself. She went to go let somebody know right away, right? So that only the man is going to die, right? Because he willingly committed adultery, right? She's not at fault, because what could she do? She got overpowered. There was nothing that she can do in her power, right? But she did the right thing because she went to go pretty much tell the authorities of what happened, right? So only the man gets punished. You see? All right, verse 27. Verse 27, verse 28, actually. It says, if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, right? That is a virgin and which is not betrothed. You see? So that means that she's a virgin and she's not called for, right? And lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, right? So this man, he just took her virginity, right? Because normally in the ancient world, right, when you would take a woman's virginity, it was supposed to be like a ceremony, right? It was supposed to be you meet with the father. It was like a business transaction, right? It was a business transaction, right? It wasn't just this, she just come home with a new boyfriend and be like, hey, dad, this is my new boyfriend. And then the dad be like, oh, okay, all right, what's up? It wasn't like that back in the day. It was like you need to meet with the father. You and the father work out a deal. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you do something for him, right? And then he'll give you his daughter, right? And there'll be a ceremonial feast, right? A party. And then in the midst of that party, you and that woman go into that bed chambers and y'all seal the deal. And then that's how they would get the blood on the on the bed sheets, right? So, and then they'll be able to keep that token, right? But if you just skip right past that and just get to the point and just force her to just get down with you, well, this is what it is, right? This is the punishment for that. It says, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, right? So now you gotta pay the father, right? And the father, he gonna be mad, all right? He gonna be mad, right? Because you forced his daughter, right, when she probably didn't want to, and men care about their father. That mean their daughters, of course, right? And also, you know what I mean? You're not necessarily the man that he wanted his daughter to marry, right? You might have not necessarily been the man that he wanted his daughter to marry, really, right? He might not even know you. You might just be some random dude that just caught her in the field, right? So he gonna be mad, you know what I mean? And, so you might get cussed out. You gonna get chastised, and you got to pay the father 50 shekels of silver. That's a lot of money, man. So that's how men wasn't just running around just forcing women to just lay down with them, because there was penalties and punishments for it. You see? And if a man did do it, okay, he would have to go by these guidelines. And if he didn't, well, he's getting put to death. So men wasn't just out here like y'all think, just grabbing women and just, because, this world has pushed feminism to a high extent, to where, people thought that the men in the ancient world were just savages and they were just grabbing women and just hyper masculine and toxic masculinity and just, bitch, get over here. I'm a man, you a woman, shut up. No, men actually, men were actually careful on how they moved, right? The Israelite man back in the day was careful because he knew, okay, if I lay down with this woman and take her virginity, it's going to be a consequence to this. So should I really do this? Do I have the money to do this? Right? Do I feel like being cussed out and beat up by the city, by the priests and shit? You know what I mean? Nah, I'm not even going to do it. It's not worth it. Right? So it wasn't happening often. Right? I'll probably say that women getting abused and sexually abused is happening more now than it was back in the day, because this is a hypersexual society, right? Everybody's thinking about sex. So I'll probably say it's happening more, man, in this time. Okay, but let's keep reading. It says, and she shall be his wife, right? So now she got to be his wife. So now he had to pay the father 50 shekels of silver. He had to get chastised, right? And she his wife now. So now and it says, because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days, right? So now that's his wife. That's his wife forever now. It's like, you wanted her, you got to deal with her now. You know what I mean? It says, a man shall not take his father's wife nor discover his father's skirt. But that's going into something else, right? That's going into something else. Okay? But yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much the law on if a woman gets forced against her will, man. It's quite simple, right? It's quite simple, right? Because just to sum it up for you, if you didn't really understand what I was saying, if a woman gets forced against her will, okay, if she gets forced against her will and she's betrothed to a husband, okay, meaning that she's already called for, right? That man that laid down with her, that forced her, he's getting put to death only. But if she they laid down together, he forced her, right, and he took her, right, and she didn't say nothing, okay, and she just kept it a secret, then the man and the woman is getting put to death, right? Because now it's adultery, right? If and then on the second half, if a man forces himself upon a virgin that's not betrothed, that's not called for, right, then he has to make it right with the father and give the father 50 shekels of silver, right? Okay, get chastised and keep that woman for the rest of his life, right? So that's pretty much how it went, man. That's the law on a woman getting forced against her will. Okay? So there's nothing to get emotional about, man. All right? There's nothing to get emotional about. Okay? These are the holy scriptures. This is the book of life, is it not? So why wouldn't it have, a situation like that in the Bible, right? There's certain procedures that need to be done in a situation like that. Why wouldn't the Lord put that situation in the Bible? People are out they fucking mind, man. Getting mad at that. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai Shalom.